When I try to recount my Final Fantasy experiences, they're never the last one. The title is so misleading. I definitely enjoyed Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy VII is the one that got me into the series. And I played Final Fantasy VIII as well as Final Fantasy Tactics. But TJ has played them all. And what do we have today?
Right here we have the genesis of the entire thing, Final Fantasy Origins.
The Sega Genesis of the entire thing, because that would be amazing.
No, it was never on the Sega Genesis.
Damn it.
I don't think there's ever been a Final Fantasy game on a Sega system.
That's because Phantasy Star rules. Anyway, move on. What is this available for? Because it was originally a PlayStation 1 release, now on what, PS3?
It's available as a download from the PlayStation Network and includes the original Final Fantasy I and the never before released in America, except when this was released on the PlayStation, Final Fantasy II.
What was the original Final Fantasy I released on? NES?
It was, in fact.
All right, look at that. I know something.
Yes, as was Final Fantasy II and Final Fantasy III, but not the 2 and 3 that were here because those were 4 and 6 and those were on the Super NES.
My head already hurts, TJ. Thanks.
Yeah, I've been living with this all my life.
So how's the presentation different from the original PlayStation version, and is it something that longtime fans of the series should enjoy?
Well, it's a direct port of the PlayStation version, which is to say it's a significant graphical upgrade from the NES original. Most of the sound has been remade, the graphics have been remade, the dialogue has been retranslated so that it's actually accurate in most places.
Now what about the storyline, being that this is the Origins? Presumably you learned something about the beginning of the series, maybe? Yes? No?
Not really, since they're all entirely separate games. The original Final Fantasy, of course, has the 4 Warriors of Light with jobs that you choose, traveling around the world, knocking down elemental fiends, and eventually going to destroy chaos itself, which would make Dr. Ian Malcolm a little bit testy. Final Fantasy II, though, one of the lesser known of the series, has a very strange mechanic in that there aren't really codified classes. Every one of your party members instead adapts and becomes stronger in the directions in which you actually use them.
Well, I absolutely loved the Final Fantasy IV remake on the PSP. Is this one that you would recommend? Is it up to the high quality standards that we should expect from these old school remakes?
Well, they've certainly put plenty of work into it and included everything from a dynamically updating bestiary to the original Yoshitaka Amano artwork that provided the basis for the character designs. But this is really one for the hardcore JRPG enthusiast who wants to go back and relive those heady days of having to blow into the cart without having to blow into the cart.
And you think that the first one's the strong point, right?
Yeah. Final Fantasy II, while it's certainly a unique beast and really develops its own characters as opposed to just handing you a blank template and forcing you to create your own interpersonal dynamics, the mechanics just feel a little bit less refined compared to what we've come to expect through the Materia system or the GF system or any of the other series of mechanics that happened later on down the line.
Final Fantasy Origins. Now, of course, we're going to have to review Final Fantasy VII one of these days.
We are, in fact. I've got a copy right over there.
You left your copy floating in deep space?
I figure it's safer up here than anywhere on Earth.
That's a good point. See you next time on Classic Game Room. TJ, how many hours have you spent combined playing Final Fantasy games?
You do not want the answer to that question.
Is it more time than the universe has?
Quite possibly. I may have entered a temporal paradox somewhere around Final Fantasy VIII, but that's entirely understandable.
There you have it.